السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. كيف أمسيتم? How are you this evening? الحمد لله أمسينا وأمسى الملك لله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير. رب أسألك خير ما في هذه الليلة وخير ما بعدها. رب أعوذ بك من شر ما في هذه الليلة ومن شر ما بعدها. رب أعوذ بك من الكسل والسوء الكبر. رب أعوذ بك من عذاب في النار ومن عذاب في القبر. آمين. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله سيدنا مولانا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. This session, as you know, is a session on questions that you have forwarded to me through the electronic medium. Not that I use it, but this was introduced through you and given to me. The intent, by the way, let me say it here, I did not intend, Brother Shams, originally that question and answer means anybody from anywhere in the world. Because, I don't use that electronic medium. I forgot that you can do that. That you can send a question and I will take the responsibility to answer that. That's not what I mean, because that's a full-time job. I mean by that our community. If we can do it somehow for our community only, and only those questions received by members of our community, especially pertaining to the things we learned together in this masjid on in Jumu'ah, khutab, in classes of Tuesdays, in the khawatir, in the seminars, etc. Those individuals who have questions pertaining to those or matters of their deen in general are welcome to send their questions via the electronic medium to the office of our masjid, which will be forwarded to me, and inshallah ta'ala, if Allah wills and I'm able to, I would answer those in these sessions. So please keep that in mind, because apparently I received questions from different parts of the country, from overseas, some of them, and those, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. If I start doing that, I have no time for anything else. And some of the questions also require serious investigating as well. So please keep that in mind. So the questions I have here, as were forwarded to me by Brother Omar, who was in charge, and others about bringing me those questions, I'm going to deal with them as they came, in the order they came. Some of them seem to be from these communities and outside, but not from overseas, I think, in this one. And when I finish with these, if I do in time, then if you have questions from the floor, I will take those questions, inshallah. Bismillah. Well, the first question is from a sister. I will not mention names. I will not mention any detail which would identify the person in any ways. So this sister said, Hafidhullah, basically, I have been mildly and heavily bleeding ever since I gave birth, March of last year, 2015. Alhamdulillah, she gave birth to a boy and a girl, twins. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them health and make them in dunya and in akhirah happy. And they are healthy, she mentioned. Maybe I'm going to mention some details of the questions just in case some of you are here would appreciate that, or some doctors or so, and then you can comment later. I was given the depot birth control shot the day after that is given birth, and noticed I am still bleeding well past 40 days. I went to my doctor several times, etc. And since he said I had a C-section and Depo birth control. She was told that it may take 6 months for her body to adjust. She said, but still after those 6 months even, now not only 40 days, still no improvement. I went back and the doctor described me estrogen tablets for 1 week, and bleeding improved a little bit, but it did not stop. She was given 30 days of estrogen after that, and it didn't help at all. And she's now using what she calls the IUD, birth control, which is no hormones, in hope to help with that. And she said, and again, I'm still bleeding. I'm saying these details because they are important to the question and to maybe some sisters and some families who can hear this and or who can identify somebody like that as well to hopefully help with the question. I haven't prayed or read Quran since then because she believes in nufasa. And I feel like I am slipping away from Islam. I also feel that my husband is getting impatient, but he has been understanding. So she needs an answer about this. What is the Shari'i hukm pertaining to her ibadah and her relationship with her husband? The ulama, rahimahullah ta'ala, reviewing the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and our juristic Shari'i precedents in the time of the Sahaba, for example, and others, have come with the following answers. Especially in this case, which is now over a year, since March 2015. The ulama, rahmahullah ta'ala, in identifying the longest period of nafas, of post-delivery period, during which, as you know, or some of you know, or should know, that when the woman is in nafas, like when she is in hayda, in her menses, she must not perform salah, she must not fast, her husband must not enter into an intimate physical sexual relationship with her, because that's harmful to her and injurious, etc. All of that is haram, and other things as well. As to the maximum period of nafas, the ulama, yarhamukallah, the ulama have differed on that question because of different texts. Some madhahib, like the Maliki madhab and another madhab also, they said it's 60 days, 60. And some other madhahib say, like the Shafi'i madhab, it is 40 days maximum. Some others say it depends on the person. And now it's either 60 or 40 or less. And if that period is reached, whatever that maximum period is reached, in this case, there is no doubt and there is no discussion. It's months and it's a year. That is definitely, as the ulama have said from the text, that is called a state of what? Who knows? Istihada. The case of istihada. Istihada means it's an ailment. It's a physical problem. It is not the bleeding due to the period, the menstrual period, or the period of after the delivery, where that blood is najis. It's najasa coming out, dirt coming out and cleaning the body. This is called istihada, as Rasulullah ﷺ himself identified it for women, some women in his time, radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. And he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the ulama rephrase that if that maximum period is beyond that, like in this case, and it is a case of istihada, then the person, alhamdulillah, the woman, would indeed wash herself, taghtasil, and then she protects herself properly. Nowadays we have means that are healthy and hygienic and protective to keep the blood from dripping on the floor or outside from her body. She does that, and then she performs wudu for every salah. Some ulama say it's wajib, some ulama say it's mustahab, like in the Maliki school, it is mustahab. In some other schools, that is wajib. For every salah, she renews her wudu and she performs her salah. Once she performs her wudu, let's say for salatul dhuhr, she may, if she did not pass gas or urinate or defecate, etc., she may perform salat nawafil with that same wudu. But when the next salah comes, even if she's still in tahara, she did not lose her wudu in the customary way through air or etc. or urine, etc. Then if the time for the next salah comes, she has to wash again. She has to perform wudu again. By the way, and all the schools say, it is mustahab if she chooses to also performs ghusl for each salah, for each fard salah, for each obligatory salah. If she performs ghusl, that's mustahab. Some say it's sunnah, but not obligatory. What is obligatory in accordance to the majority of the schools is what? Perform wudu for every salah. And she can fast, and she perform dhikr, and she can read the Quran, etc. And also in accordance to the ulama, the muhaqqiqun, that the majority of them, yes, she may have that intimate relationship with her husband, especially if it becomes, in a sense, habitually for either of them something necessary. You know what we mean by that. Alhamdulillah, we are people of deen, of Islam. We have also haya in the way we convey certain aspects, private aspects of our lives. So, in other words, if it becomes necessary, especially in the Hanbali madhab, the rajih opinion of the Hanbali madhab is that if it is necessary for him or for her to enter into that intimate sensual, physical, sexual relationship, then they can do that. And in accordance to the other ulama in the Hanafi school and others, it is indeed no problem at all during that period. But one has to be simply cautious and observing the consequences of that, so that there is no harm or illness that would ensue as a consequence. I do not know whether the sister has been waiting, she meant in her question, even now, because this question came in a few, when was it, 2 weeks ago? More than that, this one? Yeah. So whether when she sent the question, that condition was still going on and she was not performing salah, or if she was not performing salah since then, and nobody gave her the right answer, unfortunately, that she would probably, in this case, she would probably have to see how many salawat she missed since either 60 days after her nafas or her delivery, after 60 days or 40 days in accordance to some other school. And let's say in this case, perhaps because it's unclear, we take an opinion of either if she prefers to take the 40 days or the 60 days, because these are ijtihadat, scholarly, interpretive opinions of the scholars as to that maximum period. So if she takes either 60 or 40, then since then, how many salawat she missed? She has to make up for them. Inshallah, and there is no wrongdoing on her part, bi'idhnillah, because she didn't know. And it seems she was not given, up to that point, the proper answer. Wallahu ta'ala alam. When a sister is in her hayda, her menstrual period, or in her nafas, that doesn't mean she cannot practice ibadah at all. What she does not do is salah and siyam, for example. But she can do always what? Dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Dua. She, alhamdulillah, in accordance to the Maliki madhab, the opinion of Imam Malik's madhab, rahmahullah ta'ala, that she can even read the Quran, especially if she's concerned that she might forget what she has memorized. However, from memory, preferably not touching the mushaf. But they also said she may even touch the mushaf if she uses a pointer or a glove and holds it from underneath, for example, and turns the pages with a pointer, that she may do that. And if she's a teacher of Quran and she's afraid, well, who's going to teach the children? Or she's afraid to forget the Quran. Alhamdulillah, there is this fatwa of the Maliki madhab from the old centuries ago, from Imam Malik's time, rahmahullah ta'ala, on the basis of some evidence that she may do that also, inshallah ta'ala. So keep that in mind, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. The second question, here I need some help in language. What is napak? Napak. Najas. And pak? The opposite. Opposite. Pak and napak. Okay, now I know. I guess that's what it was. Because the person maybe, alhamdulillah, they sent a question here, not knowing that this abd does not really have any sort of command over Urdu. Is it Urdu, right? Yes. So it says here, if we wash putrid, what's putrid? Putrid? Yeah, putrid, napak clothes in a washing machine, it will be clean, pak, or not? I think, alhamdulillah, it seems a genuine question. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe this was from overseas, Allahu ta'ala alam. And I hope that this would reach whatever the person, I think. That's why we don't take overseas questions. There are ulama overseas, alhamdulillah, who will answer all their questions, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So, of course, if we put clothing that is najis in the wash machine, because it goes through many cycles, not just it washes it in, najasa, it remains in that water. No, it washes it through few cycles, the first cycle, the second cycle, the third cycle, and then the drying and etc., etc. Yes, inshallah ta'ala, if you wash your clothes, your najis clothes in a wash machine, the wash machine is enough, inshallah ta'ala, as long as the wash machine, as far as I know, goes through more than that one cycle of simply washing. There's more than one cycle of washing itself, and then after that, soaking, and then what is it, rinsing, and then drying after that. So all of that is indication, inshallah ta'ala, that that process is good enough. Yes. No, that's not what it says, but let's deal with that question. So in other words, maybe, may we put najis clothes and not najis clothes in the same wash machine? Yes, you may, because Otherwise, if you can't, then my first answer is wrong. No, that's the question is that, and that's the answer to that question. What is better is a different question. Yeah. So if you ask the question, is it better to do them separately? Yes, maybe it is, but just to remove doubts and whispers of shaitan and the nafs from the mind of the person washing. But alhamdulillah, in a shari'i sense, that's good enough. Do not demand on yourself more than what the shara requires of you. Otherwise, you would become waswas and would be demanding of yourself, which Allah did not demand from you. The third question, subhanAllah, this maybe you will help me with this. Regarding a dream my niece in India has seen few days ago. She saw in her dream that An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam visited her house. By the way, this niece is about 14 years old. He came close to her and recited something and blew on her. She said he did dum on her. What is dum? Dum. What is dum? He sallallahu alayhi wasallam told her mom to save her daughter from every nazar except Allah's nazar. Now Allah, astaghfirullah, Allah doesn't have evil eyes, astaghfirullah. Because she says nazar and nazar, the same word. Yeah, nazar, so like Arabic. Ayna. To save her daughter from every nazar except Allah's nazar. My niece said her eyes were closed so she couldn't see him, but was confident that it was him sallallahu alayhi wasallam who visited her. She also said that in the same dream her mom called all of her family members and informed them about the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's visit and his advice. My niece is about 14 years old and currently she is sick. Cause of sickness unknown. Request you to make dua for her and if possible explain the meaning at-ta'bir of the dream. But first of all, let's do what she asked us to do. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin عبدك ونبيك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله. اللهم برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبجودك وكرمك نسألك أن تشفي أمتك الشابة هذه يا رب العالمين. اللهم شافها وعافها. اللهم ارفع البأس عنها. اللهم ارفع البأس عنها. اللهم ارفع البأس عنها يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعلها من الشاكرات الذاكرات. اللهم ارفع عنها البأس. اللهم ارفع عنها البأس والأذى. اللهم ارفع عنها البأس والأذى برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا أكرم الكرمين يا جواد يا الله بجاه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم بجاه نبيك الرحمة المهداة صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم اشفها وعافها يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين آمين يا رب. Well, first of all, wouldn't you say that this is a wonderful dream? Alhamdulillah, we would say to this sister, if she's listening or will receive this message, that this is khair, alhamdulillah, this is good. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming to your niece and approaching her and reciting something and blowing on her, this is all khair. And perhaps, inshallah ta'ala, if that dream is haqq, perhaps this is inshallah ta'ala glad tidings about the future of that niece, inshallah ta'ala. Number two, protect your daughter from every nazar except the nazar of Allah. Protect your daughter from every nazar except the nazar of Allah. Perhaps it is telling her, protect your daughter's ailment or evil eye if there is, by you turning to Allah Azza wa Jal, by the nazar of Allah. Protect her from the evil nazar by the nazar of Allah. And those who do that, surely this is the recipe for success. Protect her by turning your heart towards Allah Azza wa Jal, not by turning to the creatures and to the ibad, and not by following superstitious ideas or ways of healing that are not necessarily sanctioned by proper Shari'i evidence. Rely on Allah. Look at Allah Azza wa Jal. انظري إلى نظر الله إليها وإليك, as though it is telling her, look and be aware of the nazar, of the look of Allah Azza wa Jal on you and on her. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming there and telling her that, that's very powerful. In other words, this is the recipe for bi'idhnillahi ta'ala healing and for her happiness, insha'Allah ta'ala. And perhaps the parents or the family somehow are too concerned with what people think, what people say, and etc., etc. Don't do that. Be mindful more of the nazar of Allah to you, not what people say and do, etc. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant her shifa, ya Rabbi. Wallahu ta'ala alam, and Allah knows best. Can a female travel from one place to another without mahram? Again, the question keeps repeating itself. Maybe people, of course, people do repeat questions because maybe they were younger when we used to answer those questions and they did not know those answers, they did not pay attention, they did not sit in circles of ilm. Now they grow older, they have an interest, and they don't remember having heard that before, though that, of course, has always been talked about. So, may a woman in the Islamic Sharia travel alone outside of her house without mahram? The general rule is that every hukm in Sharia is intended to promote benefit and to demote or remove what? Harm. When Rasulullah ﷺ indeed did mention, in accordance to authentic texts, that the woman might not travel away from her household without a mahram for 3 days or for some period, etc. That's a fact. Now the ulama, or many ulama, rahmahullah ta'ala, of old, centuries ago, in different, especially nowadays or later, in different madhahib, but especially earlier on in the madhahib like the Maliki madhab and the opinion of Imam Ibn al-Arabi rahimahullah ta'ala, Al-Qadhi Ibn al-Arabi rahimahullah ta'ala, and others in the Shafi'i school, etc., that there is a rationale behind that. The intent of the lawgiver, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the authority of Allah Azza wa Jal, behind that hukm is the protection of and the well-being of the woman, especially in those days. And travel in those days was on foot or on horseback or on mule or on camel, and crossing deserts, crossing uncharted territories, or traveling at night and day was dangerous sometimes, especially. And that danger, relatively speaking, is more serious for a woman than for a man. and that not only because she's weaker, she could be abused sexually, physically, and so on. She could be even, kidnapped. She could be taken as a slave by some other tribes, by some other enemy nations, etc. The dangers were very prominent and very real. And therefore, don't subject her and subject the community and subject the family to this difficulty and this hardship and this in this way. And therefore the ulama say much later, based on some other hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, speaking of times to come, and he mentions that there will be time to come when there will be the Islam will spread so much that even the woman would travel alone from Yemen, in Yemen to Hadramaut, from Sana'a to Hadramaut, long distance, fearing nothing except Allah Azza wa Jal. Some ulama have used, like in the Maliki Madhab and so on, and said the reason is the protection and the safety of the woman. If, therefore, in those days, these are centuries ago, for example, Imam Ibn al-Arabi al-Qadi have said, and therefore, and in the Shafi'i school also, let's say the woman wants to go to Hajj, and she has no mahram. At that time, the fatawi and before was, she cannot. And she doesn't have to perform Hajj. But some other ulama have said, rahimahullah ta'ala, if in her traveling now, she travels with a reliable group of men or women, group such as it is most probably safe for her in every aspect, in her deen, in her life, in her honor, she is safe and secure, then she may do that. And therefore, that fatwa taken, and that basis for that fatwa taken, to nowadays when people travel now by airplane and security and safety in airplane, in airplanes and in airports, etc., most likely than not, then the ulama would say, many of them, that if that's guaranteed, alhamdulillah, that's most probably the case, and we're dealing with a woman that fears Allah, not a woman who simply likes to hang out, and maybe is traveling for ma'asiyah, wal-'iyadhu billah, to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we're talking about a serious, noble, gentle, educated or not educated woman who wants to travel to visit her family, to study, kada. Reasons legitimate of obedience of Allah Azza wa Jalla and no disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those ulama say, under the circumstances, if we are sure for her safety, then the Sharia would say, this is jaiz, inshaAllah ta'ala. But if we doubt that security and that safety for her life and her honor and her deen, etc., then it becomes either makruh or haram. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Well, that's the answer I gave, of course. I know, yeah. Yes, I know. But you have now two questions. Can she travel alone to Hajj? Yes, but. So that has nothing to do with the question. That has to do with now extenuating external circumstances that are not pertinent to the question. The question is, may she travel alone to perform Hajj? The answer is, in accordance to many ulama, under the circumstances you mentioned, is yes. Now she says, well, she doesn't have money to travel. Okay. Or they won't give her a visa. So those are extenuating circumstances that the fatwa has nothing to do with. We cannot give a fatwa to the embassy of Saudi Arabia and tell them we told her she can, so you must give her a visa. That depends on them. Then they don't give her a visa. Khalas, alhamdulillah, she's free from responsibility, inshallah ta'ala. Like if she doesn't have money or she, etc., etc. I have a question about, of course it is a question. Is it mandatory on women to do household chores and cooking? Because I heard lots of speeches that it's not her fard if she doesn't do it okay. Is there any hadith that proves that women don't have to do these things? I really appreciate your detailed reply. Why are you looking over there? No. I think, in my opinion now, from what I know of the subject matter of the texts and of the opinions of the ulama, rahmahullah ta'ala, and of what some people of ilm, students of ilm or a'imma sometimes say in response to this question, or even the person who asks the question, the way they mean when they say obligatory or not obligatory to cook. When the ulama, some ulama who have said it is not wajib on her to do that, what do they mean? What is wajib in Islam, in Sharia, in fiqh? What is wajib? That's a translation of wajib. That's not the meaning of wajib in fiqh. What is wajib in fiqh? If you don't do it, you will be punished. And if you do it, you will be rewarded. Punished by whom? By Allah Azza wa Jal. Rewarded by whom? Allah Azza wa Jal. So when the fuqaha, some would have said it is not wajib, that's what it means. That if she doesn't do that, that there is no punishment. That, in other words, it's not fard ayn on every, because if we say wajib in that sense, means every woman must do that like ibadah, like salah. It's not wajib. In other words, if, let's say, if she says, well, I assigned that duty to my daughter. We said, well, it's wajib on you. You can't assign my fard salah to my daughter, she does it for me. We say, you have to perform salah. So if we say this is wajib in fiqh, means you have to do it, not your daughter for you. Or she says, well, I have a servant that does it for me, a maid that does it for me. So no, it's wajib on you. Like wajib, salah is wajib. Then you have to do that yourself. This is, I think, what is not, if ever at all, pointed out by people who give fatwa. That's what wajib means. We don't say wajib in a colloquial, cultural sense. When we speak fiqh, an answer of fiqh, we have to use the word wajib is in the context of fiqh. What wajib means. So in that sense, it is not wajib. In that sense, it is not wajib. So she can, yes, they can have a maid, they can have a servant, they can have others do it for them if they so desire. So it's not wajib in that sense. But also, there are general statements in the Sunnah, for example, which describe, alhamdulillah, the woman as the caretaker and the responsible for the household. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته until والمرأة راعية في بيت زوجها وهي مسؤولة عنه وهكذا الحديث. And the woman is responsible in the household of her husband to take care of it, and therefore taking care of it is what? Can we say also it is wajib in the fiqhi sense on her to raise her children? In the fiqhi sense. Now that you understood it, what we mean by wajib. Why? Because she can hire somebody else to do it, if they so desire. So it's not wajib in that sense, but it is wajib in the sense of her responsibility. Somehow that is to be done. So would she as a mother simply ignore her children? Well, I don't have to cook for them. And the husband said, well, there is no text either. I don't have to cook for them. Let them starve. See, it doesn't make sense. All of you are responsible. The man is responsible. The woman is responsible in her household. And part of assuming that responsibility is what it entails, such as feeding the children. And feeding your household. And what family life is there if the relationship between the two is on the basis of technical obligations and recommendations? What life is this? Robots do that, not human beings, I suppose. And at the same time, the husband should not feel it is her fiqhi wajib. It's not a fiqhi wajib. It's a responsibility to be assumed. And to help with that by providing, by working and going to work and working hard and bringing food. And part of her work is to take that food and to make it and to prepare for her children and her household, alhamdulillah, voluntarily and lovingly, insha'Allah ta'ala. Wallahu a'lam. So that was not that bad, huh? This is from, again, I don't identify people. This seems to be, alhamdulillah. One also, other questions were from some brothers or sisters who have embraced Islam. My wife is a good Muslim. He is himself a new Muslim. My wife is a good Muslim, alhamdulillah, but she avoids the rest of my family completely. I am the only Muslim in my family. But I know she likes them. I think she's weary to go around them because she doesn't like dogs and is afraid some knot will pull off her hijab if she's in a public place. Excuse me. Things like that. But I know I will protect her. And my family really likes her and asks about her all the time, etc. Can you offer any advice? This is, alhamdulillah, a very personal question. Maybe most of us here are not subject to that. So this is a family of non-Muslims within which there is a Muslim. And they are supporting, alhamdulillah. It seems from the description that he says his family, they like his wife, they support her, they ask about her, but she is uncomfortable. Presence of dogs and things like that. What do we advise her? Alhamdulillah, first of all, may Allah reward him for his position of saying, I'm there to protect her. And they really like her, and he wants her to communicate more with his family. And he's promising, alhamdulillah, all the good things, and he's mentioning the good things of the family who likes that woman. But perhaps, alhamdulillah, keep finding out some of the emotional or psychological or behavioral or habitual reasons why she doesn't. You mentioned dogs. Maybe something else also that she's concerned with. Nevertheless, in general, I would say, in general, these are not reasons for her not to go visit, alhamdulillah, the family. On the contrary, she should take this opportunity, especially that they are as he describes, she should take that as an opportunity for da'wah, alhamdulillah, with her behavior, with her kindness, with her appreciation for their love and their support. And yes, and they have, of course, they are non-Muslim. They have some habits that we are not used to. Dogs, we're not used to dogs at homes. That's makruh or haram in accordance to most scholars. But that's not a big deal not to go visit a family because they have a dog. You know, you go visit even a good friend, a Muslim, committing this ma'asiyah, you still go visit him. You know, alhamdulillah, because they have other good things. Nobody has every beautiful character. We all have faults. So if we look only at the faults of our friends or our neighbors or our relatives, nobody will go to anybody's house. And then we will run away from each other in the same house. But one should, alhamdulillah, develop a spacious heart, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and she should ask Allah, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal, that He expands her heart, inshaAllah ta'ala, and that He removes her fears, inshaAllah ta'ala, so that she can connect with the family, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make her and her husband an instrument for khair, inshaAllah. Do you have anything else to advise the family? Communicate. Indeed, yes. Communicate more, as we mentioned, more of what is concerning her. Maybe he will discover other things. Yes. Thank you. What else? Inshallah ta'ala, and if the sister or the brother are hearing this answer or will hear this answer, alhamdulillah, yes, if she has specifics about what she's concerned with or uncomfortable with, that she would like to ask about, and come to me here in the masjid, and if I'm able to help her, inshallah ta'ala, I would gladly do that, inshallah. Next. Can we eat meats like turkey, roast beef, and meatballs from Subway with Bismillah? Or are we forbidden to eat that? Etc. Allah. And he mentioned some person, an imam or so, who said, you may do that. I don't want to mention names. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you should know, and some of you know, he said subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ وَطَعَامُكُمْ حِلٌّ لَهُمْ. The ta'am, the food, and here they mean, the ulama say, Allah speaks and I will explain, is halal for you, and your food is halal for them. Now, the ulama, in view of the other ayat in the Quran and the many ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, have said that what that means is, in case of meat, is the meat from, first of all, halal animals, not pork, not pig, slaughtered pig, or hyena, or a tiger, or a dog, or ila dhalik. But the animals that are that we're allowed to consume their meat after the bleeding is done. That means ذبائح أهل الكتاب is halal in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let's keep this very clear. When a person from the people of the book, a Jew or a Christian, who says or professes to be a Christian or a Jew, they slaughter the animal, they bleed the animal, that meat is halal. That's what Allah says in the Quran. And that's what Rasulullah says in the Sunnah. As long as the other condition, as the ulama say, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَإِنَّهُ لَفِسْقٌ. And do not eat from that which the name of Allah upon which was not mentioned. And the ulama have mentioned that means if, now with the other ayat in Surah Al-Ma'idah as I mentioned, and other hadith, if a person from the people of the book slaughters the animal, as long as he does not or they don't mention other than the name of Allah when they slaughter, Bismi, other than Allah Azza wa Jal. As long as they don't say that, that dhabiha is halal. That's well established in the early predecessors and so on. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Because that's the Quran. You don't find me usually say things like that. That's the Quran and the Sunnah. Otherwise we're making something halal, haram. Now the rest is what? Now this is not an answer about, exactly, it's not an answer, specific answer about the question. This is the principle. This is what the ulama look for. Now what is to be now looked for, تحقيق المناط, is to see whether in this case it applies. Now, this rule, does it apply here? So what do we have to know in order to say it applies or it does not apply? That the meat sold in this place or that place or that place, is it a meat of an animal that is halal? First of all, it cannot be pork or other things. Second, was this animal, the meat of which is sold, was it slaughtered, bled, and not strangulated, for example, etc., or not gassed? Now, stunned is not the word, wrong. Stunned is okay. Shot is the word. Shot to death. Shot to death. Stunning is not an issue. That's the lay people say that. Stunning, if the animal did not die and you bleed the animal after that, that's fine. Because what is haram is the animal dies through other than the means of bleeding. So we have to make sure that that's the case. And that the one who slaughters is either a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim. And also that it was bled properly and not other than the name of Allah was mentioned. But if a Muslim slaughters the animal and says, Bismi Abi, in the name of my father, instead of Bismillah, that still is haram, even if it is a Muslim who slaughtered it. So now we have to find out that. And that sometimes can be found, sometimes cannot be found. We don't know. I know some other things I have said on other occasions. But this is what it is. It's not haram. It's not halal like that. You have to find out the answers to these concerns. That's what makes it halal or haram. By the way, now passing through this is not the only thing we should look for, regardless of who slaughters. Even if all the prior conditions are mentioned, especially some years ago, what should we be looking for? More dangerous than this. What was the animal fed? What was the animal fed? Would you like to have Creutzfeldt disease? Mad cow disease? Which one is more dangerous? Well, if the animal is fed animal proteins, that's danger to life. You know prions and you don't know these things? You know the mad cow disease? Well, mad cow disease, develops in cows or in other animals which eat other than their natural way of eating. Herbivores, Allah created them as herbivores. They eat, plants and vegetations. They don't eat meat. Cow eating meat, that's an herbivore. Now by these feeds that they make and they process, some of you now have known that this was a big issue years ago, and they had passed laws to make a lot of changes in the laws governing what is sold in the market. That feeding the animal proteins of animals processed to a certain percentage only in the feed. Like they fake to the cow food, grains, but they mix it with this feed which contains animal protein even to some percentage. And with time, they discovered, lo and behold, wal-iyad billah, the cow got mad. And they died, this brain disease, which they realized transfers to the human being through the meat he or they ate that is contaminated by the prion, the prion that causes the mad cow disease. And that's an incurable disease. Death. And the prion is something they never knew before. It's not a virus, it's not a micro, it's a prion. It's incredible. They tried everything to kill it. High pressure, radiation, heat, nothing does it. And the time I used to read a lot about this in Science, etc. They used to say it has 50 years of incubation period even, up to 50 years. In other words, you can have it after you ate the meat, but you have up to 15 years for it to show in your system and to get the disease that is the Creutzfeldt disease, the human part or the human example of the mad cow disease. Now that's even more serious. To eat that meat is haram because it leads to this. They have passed laws, that I can tell you, they have passed laws in the United States, first in Europe, better laws in Europe about this, to stop feeding the animals animal proteins. That's very, very dangerous. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said 14 centuries ago, and that's the basis. And people did not pay attention to this when it first surfaced. And alhamdulillah, I brought that attention to the Fiqh Council at one time, and I don't know how they used it. And that is, نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أكل لحوم الجلالة وشرب ألبانها وحتى ركوبها. 14 centuries ago, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not eat the meat of a jallala, nor drink its milk, nor even ride on it. And what is a jallala, subhanallah? 14 centuries ago, a jallala is a chicken or a goat or a lamb or a cow that eats najasa. That eats najasa, any najasa. Now, do you know what they feed the cows and the goats and so on, to make that feed that they give for it to be animal protein? Part of that, a lot of that is road kills. You know, the road kill, when you drive and the animal is hit on the road and it's there for a while. They pick all of that, and the dead animals and the dead dogs in the hospitals for animals. All of that they bring together, and it's all documented. That is in Sharia. How do you describe Mayta? Is Mayta najis or tahir? Najis. That's najasa. That najasa is collected and processed and fed to the animal, the cow or the goat or kada. That's jalala. And Rasulullah says, don't eat the meat of a jalala, nor drink its milk. nor even ride on it. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. And that's very serious. And also, we're treating an animal unlike its nature. The cow is an herbivore, and we force it to be carnivore. That must change something in the order of creation. That's تغيير خلق الله. And there are consequences. And now we have lived long enough to see this consequence of dealing with the order, the natural order of Allah Azza wa Jal, in a way that is against that order. A prion, they have not talking about it now because there is no answer. It has no cure. Not even radiation killed it. And it has an incubation period of 50 years. You can read 10 years ago, people in England and so have eaten all that meat. They say, you never know, within 50 years, we have still to wait. Some people have developed Creutzfeldt disease. But some, well, hundreds of thousands have eaten that meat. From 10 years ago until up to 50 years, we'll see what will happen. So, not only about that, but this is a very important issue. And also Muslims, doesn't mean you slaughter it now, it's okay. This is fitna. Slaughtering it, mentioning the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, is what the right thing to do, and the must thing we do. But also make sure the animal is not fed improperly, that it is fed naturally, and not given, animal proteins, wal-iyad billah. This concludes, inshallah ta'ala, what we can cover for today. And there are 2 or 3 more questions left. We hope we can cover those some other time, inshallah ta'ala. And we do not have time for questions coming from the floor. Nasallallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be of those who listen to the words of admonition and follow the best of them. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله